Hey, welcome to the Typical Podcast. We are here to talk about the awesome FM update, AM update, any
Yeah,
TC2 updates.
yeah.
These are obviously post um documentations and everything. I'm Camo Camper.
Hi.
That's
Hi, Camo
Anthony.
Camper. Hi, I'm Anthony. O5 Anthony, also known as
Yes,
Anthony Crafting. It's
you've got too
awesome.
many names.
I do. I have way too many.
Yes. So what are we doing here today?
So
Exactly.
today, I got a lot of plans. First, I want to talk about the recent summer update, and then I went on my channel a while ago and I asked people for some of their TC2 hot takes about like weapon balance and stuff. So then we'll
Mm-hmm.
get into that afterwards. We're done with talking
Awesome.
about the update. So I guess let's get right into it. So mainly, what did you do for the summer FM update, if
Okay,
anything?
so cool thing about this FM update, I got to animate a lot of stuff. I have my main role here at Dorcus is character animations. Um, I've done a couple other things like maps and whatever, but um, I have created a lot of animations that I believed needed a lot of touch ups. Stuff like the rocket launcher, the grenade launcher, which was done beforehand, which sucked. Um, uh, Other animations that I can't think of right now because I need to actually look at them first of all. There's the new guitar reskin that I have done for the world model. It's super awesome. I
Love the
love
guitar.
the
That
I
was
love the design of
such
it.
a cool reskin.
It is such a cool reskin. The flanker's bat animation, for the longest time I've always wanted to have it spin. Oh, thank God it does now. We got that working. It was a little bit of a hassle to get that. Um, yeah, those are my main things I've done for FM update. Um, cool animator now. Um, which actually got me promoted to programmer.
Yeah,
So
congratulations.
now I do a lot of programming for the game, which is fun. Expect a lot of cool new things. They're gonna look cool. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Uh, for I am a QA tester, so I don't really do anything for the updates except test. I did a lot of the mobile testing, especially with like gyro controls and touch control stuff, but all that was done by Fake Axis, a very
Mm-hmm.
talented member of our team, programmer, who focused a lot on the mobile stuff for the FM update, and I think it actually came out fairly good. The like gyro controls, the customizability, it leads to a lot of customization for the mobile players, and it gives them a lot of opportunities to actually like contend with
Mm-hmm.
PC players, which is actually like cool.
Yeah, we've been taking a lot of feedback in for the way mobile is controlled, and I think we have it almost down. We would like to get a lot of feedback from it. Just wherever.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a channel in the Discord for like mobile feedback. So if you're a mobile player watching this, go send that there because Fake Access looks at that channel all the time, and he takes
yeah,
all kinds of suggestions from there. So
absolutely.
if you got something, let him know too.
Not only can you send just mobile stuff, we've got a bunch of other channels like bug reports, and
Mm-hmm.
we have a whole community down there. In case anyone's hasn't seen the game before or played it before, or maybe they don't know about the Discord. A big community in there. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
We have a lot of fun in there. We've got a bunch of little events that might go on potentially. We've got a bunch of workshop that anybody can submit to workshop and get their stuff added to. It's great.
yeah. Workshop is really cool. I love
Yeah.
that people are able to actually get their stuff into the game just from like concept art. It's a pretty
Mm-hmm.
neat system.
And even adding this stuff too. It's a lot of fun testing new things being added from workshop. Not only just
Mm-hmm.
workshop, but things in general. Um, there's a lot of great stories that we got from
Yeah.
QA testing. I will say that we've submitted a bunch onto the Discord's onto the Discord's like funny stuff channels.
Yeah.
um
It's a lot of fun. It's a
it
lot
is
of
a lot
fun.
of fun. What would you say was a great experience from QA testing that you had?
It was just messing around with like new features that are like bugged out a lot, trying to find out all the bugs with them, and then also messing around with them for fun. I remember one clip. I think Freaky Fish posted it in blog a while ago when the update came out. Was with some like something was lagging the game and it was causing a fake access to like wiggle around really weirdly because he's at like 1 FPS, and then he
Was that
gets
the
like
the jitter?
yeah, the jitter, and then he gets like exploded into the stratosphere. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Shit, I forgot about that.
That was a really good moment.
God damn it. I will say probably like one of the funniest moments. You know, the new 3CP map. What's it
Yeah.
called?
You mean citrus?
The other one.
Uh,
I'll send you a screenshot.
Stare
It's this one.
down. Is that the
It's
one?
this one. I think it's this one. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, that's that's stare down. Oh, I forgot
It's
the
it's
name.
like waterfall or something. I don't
Oh
remember what
yeah,
it's
but I
called.
remember I remember that moment. It was
I had noticed there was one texture that was off.
hold on, let's see if we can get that on screen. Yeah, keep talking.
You want to try to find it?
Yeah.
It was one little texture that had fallen off, and I noticed it, and everybody else was like, "You're not looking at the right spot." And I looked up, and I just see this like big ass resupply cabinet like in the sky. It's another
Yeah,
screenshot.
hold on. Yeah, here. We were all looking at like some random Z fighting, and then Campyfire was like, "Guys, look up!" And there's a whole resupply
It's
cabinet.
like another big issue, and I had such I was just like, I don't care about that resupply. That Z fighting shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
I got so mad at that. It was so funny.
That was a really good moment.
God damn it! We adopted the phrase "stupid mappers fix your maps."
Yeah.
It's so great.
Forgot about that. That was funny.
It's a lot of interesting things added.
Yeah.
It tests it out, you know. We have a lot of fun with it, but of course, you know, we're also serious about it. I swear.
Yeah. We had to go through a lot of iterations on Black Lung, I believe, to get that
Oh,
to its current
yeah.
state. And
Well,
there's a lot of bugs with it, but I think it came out pretty good. I love Black Lung.
Black Lung came out really nice.
Super happy with that.
I love its train system. Yeah, you have to be there for the train. If you get hit by the train, then like, oops.
Yeah. Who worked on that? Was it?
I
think
believe
it
that was
buildings and oh, I'm forgetting the other one. I'm so sorry. I need to look.
buildings. I don't know if Maroxy.
Was it Maroxy? I thought. Oh, hold on.
I know. Crab worked on the script.
Yes, Crab worked on the train, and he did a pretty good job with that.
There's map credits somewhere.
Playtesting ping. Hold on, I'm gonna find it. I'll find it.
It is okay. I got it up here right
Buildings.
now.
The Loler. That was who it was.
Yeah. Okay. So Maroxy, Thal, and buildings.
I believe so. Yes, that's who worked on that map, and it came out super good and super awesome.
Yeah.
And the player destruction game mode also came out really well. That was Crab working with feedback and against TC2's spaghetti code to get it to work.
Oh boy.
That's gonna be you soon.
Oh
You're
my
gonna
god.
have to deal with it soon.
As I've already seen a little bit of the code, I am a little terrified. My sanity is slowly depleting.
Yeah, that happens.
That is the day in the life of a programmer.
Yeah. All right. What do you say we start getting into some of these hot takes?
That'd be a good idea. I've got a good idea in mind, but I want to hear
Okay.
yours first.
Okay, so my hot take, and this is I don't know how people are gonna feel about this, but my hot take is that the most OP shotgun in the game is the Bullet Stormer, and I
Really?
say this because honestly don't see a lot of people using it, but it has crazy like damage at range for a shotgun. It does a lot of damage. I think it's more
Yeah.
than stock at up close, but then even at range, you're still dealing like a decent amount of damage, and that just kind of makes it really hard to fight against because like if you try to get away from the shotgun, it's still going to deal a lot of damage, but if you get close to it, you're going to get even more. So like the only way is to just kind of like have a shotgun that's faster.
Yeah. Not only that, but also every single kill adds
Yeah,
into one more
true.
clip.
That's like like a little extra thing. Like now you have more bullets, you don't have to reload as much. It's really good on mechanic as well. I love running it on mechanic.
Absolutely. It's got I guess like the only downside it's got for it is it does have I believe it has a slower firing speed.
Yes, and also there's like a damage penalty, but there's more pellets, so it kind of nullifies it a little bit.
Yeah. But also it's like the spread is gone and everything.
Yeah.
I will
It,
say though, sorry, you were gonna say something.
no, I was just saying at longer ranges it does kind of fall off, but then again, shotguns are supposed to fall off at long range, so.
Yeah. Stock shotgun's a little OP. Anyways, my ultimate hot take has to do with mechanic. His buildings, we added a lot of checks for buildings to be able to balance out where you can place his buildings, and I'm kind of both ways about it. For one, it restricts players a lot from being very creative, which I believe isn't the best choice, in my opinion. There's a lot of, I believe, good and balanced spots that mechanics can get that, well, now they can't anymore. However, on the other hand, it does stop a lot of really shucky spots from being placed down. There have been there's been a lot of building history when it
Mhm.
comes to like really bad teleporter spots or like really OP sentry spots.
Yeah.
Like I said, it kind of goes both ways. I'm more kind of leaning towards I believe mechanics should have a little bit more availability to where they can place their buildings. Um, they can't even build on slopes that well either.
Yeah.
Is a big thing that I believe shouldn't really be a thing, you know. Um, However, buildings, I guess it would also have to depend on what building you have too. Dispensers, in my opinion, should have the most mobility out of all buildings. Teleporters should obviously have the least because one, they're really big, and two, that's how you get player
Yeah.
place to place really quickly. So
Yeah. And
yeah.
then I also like another thing for mechanic, the oh, I forget the name. The mechanical marvel, the experimental like jetpack thing for mechanic that lets him double jump. It's really
Mm-hmm.
cool, but for some reason you can't build with it out, which is a little lame. But I guess it was done to stop mechanics from getting into like really, really like sneaky spots. But I feel like it'd be a little interesting, so I'd love to see that changed.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So now we're gonna get into the viewer hot takes. I had people send in hot takes on my channel for about different weapons and stuff. So now we're gonna talk about some of these takes. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. This first one is from Just. He says, "My hot take: balancing is not done by unbalanced weapons, but by community hate." I figured this would be a quick one because we just know that's not true. We test balance changes. We don't
Mm-hmm.
just listen blindly to the community hatred. We do. I mean, obviously, community like input is important, so we take that, and then we try and figure out, what's wrong with some of these weapons, if there is anything wrong at all, because sometimes, people think there's a problem and there's not, but other times there is genuinely a problem. And
Yeah.
he had more to this comment about the market gardener that we'll get into
Oh,
later. I got a whole section planned for that.
Oh boy, I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
A lot of balancing in TC2 is discussed a lot within the QA team. We have a lot of test sessions that we have with weapons. We listen into what people say about weapons, and we try to kind of test out those theories. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't sometimes. Um, a lot of it is both biased by community and by ourselves at the same time. We try to we try to be open as we can. However, we also need to be smart with how we're balancing out because um, some people might think it's might not have the greatest ideas, and we absolutely look into all of it. So um, I wouldn't say a lot of it's by community hate. There are actually some community members who do genuinely have good ideas who aren't trying to rag on the weapon and or trying to make the weapon OP. So
mhm. Yeah,
it just
totally fair. So we do. Oh, you like that a little bit there, but it's all right. Yeah, we do take
oh
a lot of consideration into balance. So it's not just slapdash like, oh, the community says this, so we change this. We do test most of the balance changes. So yeah.
it's a good hot take though. Sometimes we're not very communicative,
True.
and obviously there's reasons why people might think this.
Yeah.
I want to try to be more open and have a lot more communication with the community as much as I can. With the rest of the team too. So hopefully, hot takes like this doesn't exist.
Yeah. Hopefully this is a hot take that gets phased out through the passage of time. All
Absolutely.
right. Let's get into the next hot take here. Hot take: the YER, your eternal reward, is actually really powerful and good, and motivates people to play a sneakier playstyle, not having to go for big chain stabs and trick stabs. It's also really good for practicing spy acting, as, for example, when you stab a doctor that is near the back lines, no one really notices you're out of place because that's where docs always should be, behind the enemies and not somewhere in front of them.
I do have to agree with this hot take. There are a lot of agent mains who think, oh, we have to have these bonus attributes, but you don't really need to. Agent relies on tricking the enemy, and with this, you already like disguise against everyone else. Someone turns around and they maybe like a few people were missing, but your team is still there technically, and you wouldn't know. It's just a lot of tricking and. You don't need to hide away. You can get a lot more kills than you may think.
Yeah, I love the YR. I think it's really fun. I know if like Noki was here, he would have a different opinion. He's not a big
Yes.
fan of it, but I personally love the YR just because I think it's fun to use. It's really interesting to me to be able to silently eliminate someone and no one knows, and then that can lead to some pretty crazy situations. Just because like once you get used to dealing with agents, once you hear the scream of your teammates getting backstabbed, you know to turn around and get ready for that agent that's going to try and stab you. But if you don't hear that anymore, there's no reason to stop doing whatever you're doing. So it lets you get
Mm-hmm.
kills that you otherwise probably wouldn't get away with.
Absolutely.
Really good take. All right, let's get into the next take. I know a lot of people are going to hate me for this one. Marksman is way more balanced than people tend to give him credit for. Most, if not all, the problems that Sniper has in TF2 have been addressed here. And I believe he went more in detail into his comment saying TC2 gives Marksman things like the 108 penalty and the laser, which gives away his location. And you know what? I have to agree with this a little bit. If you've tried to fight a sniper in TF2, like, oh my god, that is so annoying and difficult. And then you come to TC2 and it's like it can still be bad, don't get me wrong. It's just a very powerful class in general. But still, with the limitations that he has, it becomes so much more manageable than it is in TF2. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't really realize that when they play TC2. They just assume, oh, sniper is like overpowered, so marksman is overpowered. And I don't think he's nearly as OP as he is in TF2. There's a lot of things done to sort of mend that problem.
I will say, Marksman isn't completely balanced in my opinion still. I wouldn't say he's completely broken like TF2. However, there are some differences between TF2 and TC2 that make the Marksman easier to play in my opinion. The character body components are a lot larger than they are in TF2. Not only that, a lot of maps aren't necessarily as big as usual, which would usually mean that Marksman has pretty close sight lines, but is still very easy to be able to see him. However, my opinion, the greatest thing that balances them out is the already preset class balancing. You have the agent who is really good at taking out marksmans. You've got troopers, namely Troper. In my personal experience, I have had a blast one-shotting marksman 24/7. It is the greatest thing ever. I do it a lot.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say he's completely like perfect. He's a little unfair, at least a little unfun to play against still, but he is a lot better than his TF2 counterpart.
Yeah. In a lot of ways. Yeah. All right. Get into the next take. Contains two hot takes. I chose one. Trooper should be nerfed. Trooper being the I can play any role but not be the perfect fit class should be that, except he isn't. Instead of being the jack of all trades, master of none, he feels like the master of all trades. Need to push? You have a Blood Doctor Uber as a secondary. Need to focus fire? Well, you can do it by yourself with direct hit. Need to hit a really annoying target? The rockets do it for you. Need mobility? Just rocket jump. Need quick damage now? Use a shotgun or the direct hit. And that's really interesting, giving a sort of blanket nerf to a class or character is something that TC2 has done before. With Marksman, he has the the 108 close range and far range penalties, but nerfing a class feels like a really like sort of fundamental thing to mess with, and you need to have a really good reason to do that. And I don't know if the problem with Trooper is built into his kit or if it's just the fact that rocket jumping is so mobile and it's such a like universal answer to anything, whether you need to escape or go in. You can kind of always rocket jump to get where you need to go, which is pretty powerful. A lot more than it is in TF2. Because if you try and compare both games, you go way farther in TC2 when you rocket jump significantly, even after the summer FM changes.
Which is the reason why we tried nerfing rocket jumping.
Yeah.
In this update, we had at least made rocket jumping. We've done two things to it. We have first of all, made you jump less than you usually would. You have a lot less distance going forward. And also what we did was we tried to nerf the way air strafing works. We added a small slowdown when you turn, instead of like how it usually be like you're supposed to turn faster, but when it comes to like stuff like this, it's not a good idea to do that. Some of these I will say kind of make sense, especially with weapons like the direct hit. In my opinion, the direct hit is pretty OP. It is pretty easy to hit your targets. Maybe we can try to make that harder to hit. Shotgun, shotgun's the shotgun.
Yeah, always good.
Of the rest of these, I'm not entirely sure. I feel like he balances a little bit more than some people might think. A lot of like, especially using the rocket launcher. Usually to counteract troopers using the rocket launcher would be to just jump, kind of be like higher elevated than him. He relies specifically on a splash damage, right? Unless you're a god tier trooper who hits his air shots like 24/7.
Yeah.
He relies heavily on his splash damage for to hit his targets. So there are also a lot of maps that I believe help with that too. Maps like Upward. If you take the lower route, there are a lot of upper routes that say like flankers can easily kill you at, right? Now it is easy for a trooper to get into those spots, I will say, because rocket jumping and whatnot. But I feel like the downside of taking about 25% of your health is it's kind of a way to balance it out, but I feel like maybe that could do a little bit more than it does.
Maybe.
It would be another good nerf to blast jumping. It is honestly, blast jumping is a little overpowered still, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
definitely a little too strong. But we'll
Yeah.
see what we do about that. We already changed it, so it'll probably stay like that for a little bit. Um, all right. On to the next take. My hot take. You talked about this earlier. Uh, I've used the new direct hit quite a bit in the new update, and I think the direct hit nerf does not make the weapon bad as what it's meant to be used for. The new stats are 60% less fall off and 50% less ramp up. It does 84 damage minimum and 123 at maximum. And I gotta agree. He went on into a lot more detail in his comment about how the fall off change is significant. 84 damage at any range if you hit a direct. That's pretty good damage to have anywhere. That's like one of the best like long range options in the game besides like marksman.
Mhm. Yeah, you're basically just using the rocket launcher at that point.
Yeah, it's got so much like fall off, or no, it's got so little fall off now rather that you can deal lots of damage from range, and it's a whole new use for the weapon that isn't just like one-shotting light classes, because I think that's what a lot of people used it for. So when they learned that you couldn't do that anymore, they just kind of assumed that the weapon was dead or that it was a bad nerf. But there's a lot that goes into the direct hit that makes it so good. It's not just that damage. The projectile speed as well, you talked about earlier, how easy it is to hit people with that extra projectile speed. It makes it a really strong option at pretty much any range now, especially at longer ranges. You can outsnipe marksman now with this thing in just 2 shots. Any light class is just 2 shots, no matter the distance, but you can't one shot anymore. I feel like that's a fair change, personally.
Yeah. The direct hit, like I said, it's still very OP. I have used it a lot recently, and wow. Honestly, I didn't even know there was even a nerf to the weapon. I hadn't even known about that until like right now.
Yeah.
Which is a little concerning.
Yeah.
So obviously, we know it's really easy to one-shot light classes, flankers, marksmen, agents, mechanics, whoever else, Even from long ranges, it's an easy 1-2.
Yeah.
The character hitboxes for the rockets are very big too, which I think maybe they shouldn't be using that. Because like I said, it's really easy to hit your rockets, especially at such a projectile speed that no one can react to it. I don't know what else to say about it except wow, what an OP weapon. I think it needs to be nerfed, in my opinion.
Yeah. It was nerfed recently. Maybe it could go further, but I feel like it's in an okay-ish spot right now. It was better than it was before, but we'll see in the future. All right, let's get on to the next take here. The Blood Doctor is a really good medigun when it's used right, and should probably be used more often, like the Rejuve crits and stack medigun. So the Blood Doctor actually isn't that bad. There's a lot of weapons that combo into it too. If you have something that prevents overheal, you can get charged really quickly. But in general, as someone who plays a lot of Doctor, I love overhealing people. I think it's super OP. That's like one of my favorite things. And it's so important to me to be able to overheal people and make sure that like they have more health than they should. I feel like that's very powerful. And the Blood Doctor is a medigun that sort of punishes you for doing that, kind of. I mean, it doesn't actually punish you, but you just don't get Uber if you heal someone that's full health or with overheal. So it encourages you to heal your like dying teammates first, which is good. That is good and should be done. But I like overhealing people a lot. So I personally don't use it a whole bunch. I don't know how much Doctor you play. So I don't know if you use this at all or if you use any medigun at all.
I have not. Well, I used to be a Doctor main like way back in the day,
Really?
but that was before this weapon was well, it was way before this weapon was made. It was back in like 2020.
Yeah. course.
Um, I was going through a lot of different just like I wanted to try new things out. However, I have used the blood doctor a few times, and I have also been healed by many doctors who have used the blood doctor. My main issue with it is the length time that the mini crits are last for. I think they last too short. Like they're way too short.
Yeah, that's fair.
By the time that you pop crits, you've maybe killed like half the team. Then say like if you already had crits, you would have already eliminated everyone. You know. Um, Especially there's some like weird thing that like all crits and like Ubers have that, like for some reason when you're like supercharged, you like play worse somehow. Maybe that's like something that any maybe I have that or something. I don't know. But it just when it comes to Blood Doctor, I feel like I don't get that much of a chance to really kill as many enemies as I can. Um,
Yeah.
Plus, it's mini crits, which does significantly less damage than it would a normal crit. Um, plus, it does build uber easily. I will say that. Maybe not on overheal like you're saying.
Yeah.
The punish uses you for overheal, but it does build up quickly, and it has 4 separate sections. You know, with those 4 sections, you can actually use those to be able to push out Ubers more frequently, right? Which does absolutely make sense why maybe it would be thought that it would be really good. It's just it lasts like it's too short is my issue with the Blood Doctor. But I will say it's not a bad medigun. I'd say it's pretty decent.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent minigun. It just doesn't see a lot of use because having to only build Uber from dying players is a little annoying. That's why. All right. The next take is 1. The Broken Sword is really underrated due to it not having to deploy speed penalty or other nerfs mechanics, making it one of, if not the best options for Hybrid Annie. And 2, the sticky jumper is really underrated in just how mobile you can be. And I agree with both of these. I love the stock melee for Annie. It's so versatile, comes out so quickly. If you're getting harassed by a flanker, you can just smack them in the face if they get too close. And there's no penalties. So it is genuinely really nice to be able to have that reliable option at close range. Because otherwise you would be taking self-damage, or you'd be taking forever with the stickies. Or, the shields, you could shield bash, but like that doesn't do a whole lot of damage. And also the sticky jumper is just really good. It kind of feels a little bit like not a joke weapon, but like a gimmick weapon, but it feels too useful sometimes, being able to like completely bypass areas without taking damage and still have that reliable grenade launcher as your primary.
Yeah, the Broken Sword is a very, he says underrated. However, I see a lot of stock annihilators, no, not necessarily like stock like they're new to the game or whatever, like pro annihilators who use the sticky bomb launcher or whatever. Anyone who isn't a a Knight, right, would honestly absolutely use this, because a lot of annihilators, other primaries, if not basically almost all of them, do have that equip penalty, the draw time penalty that removes a lot of his him be able to be versatile. However, when it comes to Hybrid Knight, I see a lot of mix, kind of back and forth. I haven't used Hybrid Knight in a hot minute. It's been a while. But I will say, I feel like using both gets very situational. Using both, like say like a large sword that has a slow equip speed versus the stock sword. It just depends. To me, it depends on the situation, right? If you got a flanker up in your face who like won't leave you alone, then absolutely you would be using stock sword. But if you have a lot of kills that you can get, you can easily use like the Black Death or whatever it's called. the other swords that give you um good attributes still. Like I said, it's all situational. Also, sticky jumper. I hate
Mhm.
that weapon with a burning passion. I hate annihilators who use it so much.
It is very
It
annoying.
is it is super, like he says underrated. No, dude, it's super overrated. Like to the point where I can't play mechanic because every
Yeah,
5 seconds I see in kill feed my entrance teleporter is all of a sudden destroyed, and then about
yeah,
10 seconds later after that, there's this guy flying around shooting pills at my buildings or at me or someone. It's like it's too good in my opinion. I think that's a weapon that absolutely needs to be like dumbed down and nerfed completely.
yeah.
That's all
I
I really
mean,
have for it.
that's a little bit of a blast jumping problem too. We talked about earlier with Trooper, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, being able to just get behind enemy lines immediately is a nightmare for like anyone like respawning, like doctors respawning and mechanic teleporters, stuff like that. It's really difficult to deal with that when there's a whole
Hmm.
like one of the arguably most powerful classes in the game just shows up at your spawn. That's always a little scary and it's a little powerful. You do have to give up
Yeah.
the stickies, but like you still got the grenade launcher. Unlike Trooper, where if you give up the rocket launcher, that's your main thing, and now you have to deal with a shotgun at best, or maybe the Boonie blaster. But
Unless you're playing
oh,
Troper. Sorry, who said that?
Trooper, yeah. Oh, I don't know what is that. I've never heard of that before.
What is that?
Yeah,
It's a very interesting
yeah.
weapon.
So it's very very powerful option. All right, let's get to the next take. My hot take that probably no one will agree with. M249 is better than stock minigun. If you walk into a brute with any other minigun, you have like 2 seconds before he can start shooting at you with his minigun. But with the M249, instead of you surprising the brute, you get surprised with the amazing 225 DPS of the M249. Whereas the reload is slow, but you can just hide it behind a wall and reload it. My idea with fixing it is nerfing the primary ammo or its clip size, removing 20% accuracy stat, and increasing the reload time. Those are
Interesting.
things. That's interesting ideas. The M249 is very powerful in how versatile you can be as brute. I love running it with the gravity coil and just getting up to places where you probably shouldn't be, but you are, and you also have a machine gun, so that's nice. And um, it being better than the minigun is a little. I'm not sure because if you typically see a brute with a normal minigun and one with the M249, the minigun's gonna win most times, just because that DPS is so high with the minigun, and it's significantly less with the M249. It still has good TPS, but it's nowhere near the stuff that the minigun can pull off at closer ranges. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people like hate the M249. They think it's super overpowered. Powered. Um, I don't think it's that OP, honestly. I think a lot of people overblow it.
I believe the M249 is not as good as people might think. So I do agree with him saying the M249 is a great surprise for brutes. Usually revving up your minigun to start shooting people, you not only deal less damage before you rev for a little whip, but also um, your spread is normally really high once you first start revving up.
Mm-hmm.
After a few seconds, it'll go down, and that's when the minigun takes its full power. However, um, the issue that I faced with the M249 and using it is it's very inaccurate. Despite the fact that it has it legitimately says like the spray is a lot shorter, it's very inaccurate, and here's the reason why. The things with miniguns is they don't shoot one bullet at a time, they shoot four bullets at a time,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that they're most likely going to always hit their shots if their crosshairs on it. The M249 only shoots one bullet, and it shoots at a pretty high spread despite being shorter than the minigun, meaning there is about 1/4 of a chance usually that your your shots aren't going to hit, especially at mid to long ranges. At short range, the minigun doesn't do that much damage either. It does. I don't know how less it does, but it does significantly less because it does less. It has less bullets than the minigun would shoot out, right? Um, it's mainly just for like an enemy's kind of going around the corner and they don't notice you, or maybe they even do notice you, and maybe you just notice them. You can easily take them down without having to have that slow movement speed 24/7. You can get to a lot of places easier and get into the fight a lot faster, but at the downside of your DPS.
Yeah, being way, way lower. All right. Let's get into the next take here. Spicy based hot take. I like TC2 more than TF2 mechanics and are way better. It's more balanced except for Agent being terrible. I think that's pretty hot take saying TC2 is better than TF2. There are a lot of weapons in TF2 that don't really make sense to me. Stuff like the Diamondback, notoriously thought to be overpowered, just gives spy crits for doing his job. And then there's lots of other weapons that are just unfun to fight against. Things like the Natasha come to mind, where you just get slowed, which isn't very fun. And so it is a little interesting, but the games have such a different balance philosophy. I don't think a lot of people realize that the balance philosophies between the two games are way, way different than what a lot of people would initially assume. So, like, I don't know if you could say one game is definitively better than the other. If you're talking pure, like, if the game works, then I'd say it's TF2. Just because, it's not on Roblox. It's on a usually more stable engine source. It's not the best engine, but, it's better than Roblox's engine. So there's a lot of non-Roblox jank, like servers that they get to just completely bypass. Because, there's a lot of problems with Roblox's servers and, like, stuff being desynced with stuff like that and lag that just TF2 doesn't have. But mechanically, if you're talking about balance, I'm not sure, honestly.
So I thought we were done with this comparing TF2 to TC2 stuff. But I guess we're back into it. So
a lot of people still do.
It's a very interesting hot take. It's all completely different. In my opinion, despite the fact that, for one, TC2 is a game based off of Team Fortress 2, not only are the engines completely different, the styles are very different, the way everything looks is very different, and that, of course, affects gameplay heavily. I've like we talk about balance changes, Sniper TC2 versus Sniper TF2, right? Yeah, he was balanced out, like weapon wise and all those other things. But the thing too, you have to remember, like, Roblox characters are also very, very different from, original Team Fortress 2 characters.
Yeah.
And it's hard to compare Team Fortress 2 and TC2 together, just because of how fundamentally different they are, despite how similar their ideas share together. I will say TC2 is a lot more forgiving for newer players than it would be for TC2 or TF2. TF2 is, based around a 17 plus, maybe higher or lower, I don't remember, game, versus TC2, which is 9 plus. I think it's 9. It's like 9 or 13. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it's 9 plus. It's on.
So it's intended for a younger audience, who normally won't be very good at FPS shooters. So it's hard to compare the two. Also, Agent and Spy are both terrible in both games. So I mean, don't tell Noki I said that.
Don't tell Noki. But that's just gonna happen when you have a class without mechanics. It's inevitable. All right, next take here. Airborne, Shock, and Awe should be able to one-shot light classes.
No.
Now,
no.
I'm not sure if they mean like with the direct hit or with the splash, because you've got stuff like Caber Knight, which can be really powerful if used. If a skilled Caber Knight knows how to use it, with the shield. But He's specifically talking about the combination with the sticky bomb launcher or
The
jumper.
sticky jumper.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it
Mm,
does enough. Plus, you can take that and another weapon. That's another thing. Because if you're running just like Trollper, for example, you have the man treads, the rocket jumper. You can't deal any other damage besides like stomping. You just have that gardener, but with Annihilator, you can have other options like your grenade launcher, which is one of the most powerful weapons in the game. So being able to combine that on something that can one-shot light classes is a little strong, in my opinion.
no, we're not. I'm no.
No.
Here are my reasons.
Okay.
That used to be the case way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but I don't think I need to have. I don't think I need to walk out of spawn, and then all of a sudden, this other guy who's using the sticky jumper jump from his spawn, traverse all the way around the map to where I am, and all of a sudden I die literally when I respawn. I don't think it's a lot of that's fun. Honestly, I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound
Yeah.
very fun. Like I said, the sticky jumper needs to be nerfed completely
Yeah.
because you go way too far. And having the shotgun also one-shot light classes. Yeah, I guess technically you would have like one shot to do it. The Caber
Yeah.
normally has that the stat that
You gotta
explodes once.
recharge. Yeah.
Yeah. However, I just think it'll be too much
Probably.
because you also have explosive damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they might also do the same shit too. It might be the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think it needs to one shot. Annihilator has enough mobility as it is.
Mm-hmm.
He should probably have less. Giving him a vital tool that will easily take down an enemy is most likely a bad idea, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if you want it to crit, you can just use the Raging Bull and then get a similar effect. You just don't rocket jump.
Oh my
So,
god,
yeah.
Raging Bull is stupid. Anyways.
Okay, on to the next take. Debatably hot take. The Poacher's Pride needs to get nerfed. It's an easy way for marksmen to... It's way too easy for a marksman to waltz around a map and instantly melt light classes with a single headshot plus body shot / SMG. The person using the Poacher's Pride is basically scoped in at all times, and with no sort of laser or tracer shot to see where the bullets were fired from, you're basically getting shot by a ghost in some cases. A fun weapon to use, but awful to fight against. I'm biased too because I absolutely adore the Poacher's Pride. I love that weapon so much. It's so much fun to use. But like, I feel like the alternative, right, is you just get one shot from across the map. So I feel like the Poacher's is easier to fight against than the other option, which is just the stock sniper rifle, or I guess the Huntsman, which is fucking busted.
Oh,
But
the Huntsman.
yeah, so
Well,
that's my thoughts.
these are issues that I have both with Huntsman and Poachers. It does allow um you to be able to fight in closer range situations, which I think is a bad idea for marksman. The type of class that
Mm-hmm.
he is, he's somebody who's meant to be at long ranges, right? That's why at close ranges his sniper rifle does 108, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for a weapon to headshot at 120 point blank towards someone and do it twice, by the way, um do 240 plus tap him with Mac 10 or whatever other secondary you're
Yeah.
using, it feels too much, and it becomes very unfun to play against because you got this guy who's doing so much damage to you that you'd think that he'd be pretty easy to kill, which I mean it works well for like a subclass, right? I think that's the reason why the Poacher's Pride was made to begin with, which is to give him another like subclass.
Mm-hmm.
But for his class, it feels too much. Maybe the damage could be nerfed to like 100, or maybe less than that, like 90 or
Maybe.
80. Because essentially you hit a one shot on like a light class, you got like 5 health less. What are you gonna do after that? You know?
Yeah, just tap them once with the SMG or the Deagle, and they're just done.
Yeah.
That's completely fair. I'm still biased though. I think it's super fun. So I'm gonna keep abusing it.
Get out! Get out!
Get out! Okay, this is the last take we got here. My hot take: people should be able to get slower the less health they have.
Mm,
What do you think?
this is a very interesting hot take.
You
It's
get 120 and then you slow down to 1 stud per second. Sounds balanced.
Getting pretty toasty in here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to pass on this one.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but like I would like to get out of a situation if I'm at low health. I don't think I need to have my doom sealed completely in that instance.
Well, don't you know TC2 has to be the most realistic game ever?
I know you've got to get shot. You're already bleeding. You like get one shot by like the flanker's pistol.
This game's so realistic. I always hate it when you get shot and then you have to go to the doctor and do the 5-minute cutscene where he like staunches your bleeding and gives you morphine.
Dude, I fucking hate it when I get killed
That's so
by
annoying.
I hate it when I get killed by someone with like a fish that's like swinging at me. Fucking sucks.
This game is so realistic.
This game is super. I mean, you got like people standing on control points. Yeah, you got shit like fires 6 powerful shots.
Yeah, 6 powerful shots. That's another great dev moment. Oh, that was funny. All right,
man.
So, what do you think of those takes?
I would say they weren't bad ideas. A lot of them had a lot of good points given through that I absolutely agreed with. Especially in cases with Trooper. Trooper is a very interesting class to play as, in my opinion. He's got all these different play styles, and it's just super. And it's really cool to hear people's like opinions about like how they should change him up and give him like new ideas and help balance him out.
Yeah. Speaking of Trooper, actually, before we end it off here, I've got one final section with about maybe 5 takes, specifically for you, because I think it'd be interesting to hear what you have to think.
Oh boy!
I have a bunch of takes related specifically to everyone's favorite weapon.
Don't talk about the damage
Gardener.
nerfs. Don't talk about the damage nerfs.
Oh boy. I want to hear some of your thoughts on it, and then I'll give some of my thoughts too, as well, on these market guarded takes. But you, as the resident trolper here, are gonna have some seniority on this because you'll know more than I do.
Sir, I'm the Trooper King.
Yes,
okay.
You are the trolper god.
I'm the
All hail the trolper god. Camo camper.
Absolutely.
Here we go. Hot take. Make them Gardener do 150 at high speeds like it was for a day or so. The damage is sometimes 108 or sometimes 135, and it's really inconsistent. If they implement a change that requires speed, then they should make it do extra damage at higher speeds. The knockback vulnerability needs to be nerfed or removed entirely, too.
So, no for 150. That's too much. I believe Market Gardener should thrive best when it comes to troopers. First of all, knowing how to rocket jump really well.
Mm-hmm.
It helps them get that mobility speed using those sync shots, going at really high speeds. I think the maximum should stay at 135, in my opinion. Mainly also because there is things stomping. There are really troopers out there who easily stomp players. It's crazy. They do like 200 damage. Um, the reason for the inconsistency, I'm not entirely sure. It is technically speed based.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, the Gardner does 108. I believe it needs to do less than that. I think it should do around
Wow.
like 80 or 90 damage.
Wow.
It sounds bad, I
It
know,
sounds bad.
but at the
I know it sounds bad.
but at the same but at the same time, I don't want it to be like you have to be at like like going like a million miles per hour to get that full 135 damage. I just think that it helps eliminate those short hops
Mm-hmm.
um with how much damage you can put into it. It's a melee weapon. It's not supposed to do that much like right there,
Yeah.
It's too much. Um Knockback vulnerability. You can do a lot with the knockback vulnerability, believe it or not. Um, like air strafe. You can strafe it so easy. Which usually you can get another kill with it. The knockback vulnerability is a little interesting to me. It's meant to be a nerf, and maybe a lot of people it is a nerf, but like I said, you could do a lot with that vulnerability of how far out you go. Um, there's not really much else to say about it.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe it can be a little bit. You go a little far. You just like kind of jump across the entire map after getting hit by someone. Maybe that's a little much, but I think it should stay.
Yeah. Well, I actually agree with you completely. I was surprised. I thought you'd be a little bit more kind to it, but no, he doesn't pull his punches when it comes to the market gardener. Surprising.
Nope, I pull it against it.
All right. The next take. The market gardener is still good. People just didn't like not being able to dominate entire servers with an overpowered weapon.
I agree.
agree.
I absolutely.
I agree. It's still very
I
strong,
agree.
even after the changes that were made back
Yes.
in.
Why do you? Why do you think I've been trying to get this gardener nerfed even more?
Yeah, it's still pretty
And
good.
no, and it's not because I'm bored, because I'm just so good. Okay, people might think that, but it's not true.
It's not true.
I absolutely agree. It's a lot like the gardener is. It's pretty up there.
Yeah,
I'd say it's pretty up there.
for weapons in general.
Absolutely.
One of my hot takes is that the nerf the MG got in the summer FM update was extremely unnecessary. The MG was already balanced before the update, and the nerf completely killed the reason to use the MG. The MG can't even one-shot a flanker anymore. It can. You just have to
It
be
can.
fast. Just go fast.
It's just. I'm sorry, bud. You can't hold S anymore to like kill the
Yeah.
flanker that you want. Like who's like a stupid and running at you, and then call yourself skillful.
Ooh.
Ooh,
It's heating up.
yeah.
Shots
Now
fired.
I'm throwing them punches.
Camo camper. The
Shots
dark side of
fired.
camo camper is coming out.
They're gonna
Right
expose
now.
me and put me on a Google Doc.
I worked for Camo Camper. He hates the market gardener.
Yeah. He's Gardner phobic.
Yeah.
Oh, see, this guy agrees with me right here.
This market gardener takes 0 skill to use. It's balanced now because of the Summer FM update, but it's really easy to get a ton of kills without much skill. Just game sense, knowing when to jump and stuff. This is the exact opposite of our previous question here. This guy was saying
Absolutely.
it's not necessary. This guy said it takes 0 skill. Still, after the update, even he says that.
I wouldn't say 0 skill.
No,
maybe
absolutely.
that's pushing it a little bit.
That is definitely going way too far. It absolutely takes a good knowledge of rocket jumping, timing, and just mechanical skill to pull off. But it is significantly easier than TF2. I'll say that.
Also, I feel like you kind of like you went opposite ways. You said it takes 0 skill, but you also need game sense,
Yeah.
which is
I'm not
skill.
sure exactly. Maybe they're referring to mechanical skill or something. I don't
Maybe,
know.
or maybe just like how the game works.
Yeah, maybe.
Um, yeah.
And then this is a continuation of the other person's comment. One really powerful example of this is the Market Gardener. It's a golden child when it comes to being buffed or nerfed. It's a pretty self-explanatory weapon. Shoot your feet and score some extra damage. With, but what comes with that is a devastating downside of increased knockback. People hate on this weapon because it's really powerful and can get tons of kills quickly, but they never think of the downside that's been staring at them in the face since 2018. The knockback vulnerability completely kills this weapon if it's utilized. Sentries, pistols, shotguns even. Any hit scan weapon or projectile will shut down 99% of attempts to score a hit with this weapon, and yet some people still complain. I feel like there's other reason, and I feel like that's the reason it gets nerfed. I also feel like that's the other reason. I can't speak. That's the reason other weapons get nerfed too. So this is the guy who was saying that weapons are balanced off of community hate, which we already said is just not true.
He
But
also
he's saying
put
here that the knockback vulnerability is like some insane downside, and you talked about that earlier about how you can do a lot with it.
yeah, like I said, you can get super creative with it. Some people now newbies wouldn't know how to do that, and it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like you just kind of have to know how Tropper really works to really utilize all of it. It takes time to really get down. You know, I back then, I mean, Tropper might have been OP, but Rocket Jumping was completely shucked back then. It
Yeah.
was super weird, right? And it took me like a long time to like be able to get a good rocket jumping sense out of it. The whole thing with the Market Gardener isn't the weapon itself. It's how you get there. It's the rocket jumping, right? You have to know how to rocket jump first before you can get into weapons like the Market Gardener, right? Like the Market Gardener heavily relies on your skill sense on blast jumping, and that's why so many of these nerfs exist, because you know rocket jumping is still really powerful, like I've said earlier. Um, um, and because of that, you can't you have to balance out the weapon that relies on the rocket jumping itself. We can also easily nerf rocket jumping too, um, but I don't know what we don't honestly.
Yeah. So
Also, the
mhm.
just the
Oh yeah,
the
I cut it off at the end there a little bit. So the is how that
the.
ends. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was actually I'm surprised we had fairly similar opinions about the gardener. Um,
Yeah.
it's a little powerful, believe it or not. It's not just the community. We actually believe that it's quite powerful of a
Yes,
tool.
trust me, it's been powerful for a long time. I remember the first nerf it got when the damage was changed from 195 to 117. I was super devastated. Like completely. Like I got so bad to the point where I started using it every day again to just prove everyone wrong. They're like, oh, and then you know, it just got really good again out of nowhere. You know, it shows
Yeah.
how much people can really grow into all of these changes, and you know, something becomes OP again all of a sudden. You know, um, it's interesting to kind of think about it.
Yeah.
Um, but that's the gardener. That's the gardener for you.
That's the gardener certainly. All right. Well, it's getting pretty long, so we should probably start wrapping up here. Um,
Absolutely, I'm
so
tired.
I had a blast. This is really fun.
This
Um,
has been this was a great podcast.
I thought it was a lot of fun. Next time, if there is a next time, let us know if you guys have any ideas for us to do. Um, I think we'd both want to continue
Mm-hmm.
doing more of these if people want them. I was thinking next time though, maybe we could do like a tier list or something. That sounds fun.
Ooh,
You
that'd be
know?
interesting. Gardener on top, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
S plus tier Gardner. It'd be something to think about. All right. So, comment down below if you want us to do more. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Do you have anything you
Yep.
want to say? Before we end?
Um. Not really, except for hey, we're trying to make this a cool thing. So like, it'd be really cool if you guys checked out a bunch of this other stuff too.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about a lot of updates and um other TC2 related stuff that I think people here would absolutely enjoy.
Yeah. We got it. We
So
actually have a lot planned together too. So it's
absolutely,
be cool. It'll be cool. Trust us. It'll be cool.
yeah.
All right. That's
All
all
right,
for
well,
now. See you later. Bye bye.
you guys
Goodbye.
have an awesome time doing your stuff, whatever you do.
Yeah. Whatever it is you're doing. Awesome outro. All right.
Awesome outro.